This is a common example of how we utilise PDTR to find areas of sensitivity in the body that act as a faulty input to the central nervous system from peripheral sensitivity. So Jack here has had an injury to his right knee. The knee has healed, but through PDTR testing, we found that it's still more sensitive than we would like. But why is that important? Because now a normal stimulus is being perceived, therefore, as more dangerous than it should be. If the central nervous system decides that that's enough of a threat, he's going to get some pain as a result. But it's also going to need to create changes in function to compensate. Changes in muscle tone, muscle function, some are going to do more, some are going to do less. For essentially a problem that no longer exists. And what we now recognise is that that sensitivity is more than likely going to be actually at the level of the spinal cord in the wide dynamic range cells, where they are closer to a threshold, and so any stimulus triggers a response. But this is abnormal. If we use a reflex type of muscle testing, where we ask the patient to keep the leg exactly like it is, not allowing them to kick in first, which would turn into a more typical strength test, if we test the reflex, there's no ability to engage the myotactic stretch reflex. That when we change the length of the muscle, it cannot kick back through action of the muscle spindle. So we would say that this is inhibited. If we then wanted to see how might he protect for that, does he then need to create tension elsewhere to help? More than likely. If we were to look in some different vectors, keep the position as it is, this is also pretty difficult. And if we were to look at some other ones, so just keep it where it is for me, this is really easy, and by decreasing the signal of the muscle spindle, it should inhibit. But as we do it, it stays where it is. So we've got a kind of protective lock through the hamstring, and in this case, quadricep rectus femoris doesn't want to engage. But I don't really care about that. What I care about is where is the sensitivity. And he tells me that he actually had an impact to the knee. And so if we temporarily put some pressure through that area, this can act as a temporary block. It's going to modify some form of neurological response. And when we come back and reflex test the same place, all of a sudden, the reflex is back again. Of course, what's the thing that he's now sensitive to? Impact. We recognise that that's a normal amount of impact, but to his nervous system, it's too much. And this is a problem, because now any stimulus to this area, through natural movement, walking, maybe he just steps off the pavement and he has a little bit of a jolt, still within the realm of normal, is now perceived as abnormal. He creates weakness here, he creates a hypertonicity through his hamstrings that neurologically can't let go. And what happens if he keeps that for a long time? Well, now the hamstring is going to be working really hard, maybe he overloads the tendon, and then now he has a tendon injury. And then it snowballs and it snowballs and it snowballs. All because of faulty sensory input from an injury that happened a long time ago. And so this is the paradigm shift that PDTR can offer you to help you find areas of sensitivity to put people back to default settings, how they should be in the first place.